but I take the position that, heck, I think intelligent design is true. I think the evidence, the physical evidence is there for it, and that many in the scientific community are simply ignoring it because of philosophical reasons. And so until I have somebody show me that I'm wrong or answer my questions, then I'm just going to plug ahead.
I mean, it is such a controversial area, and I think you're the only person in your particular department at the university you work at who has an official disclaimer on their biography saying my ideas about irreducible complexity and intelligent design are entirely my own. They're certainly not in any sense representative of Behe University in general or the Department of Biological Sciences in particular. In fact, most of my colleagues in the department would strongly disagree with them. I mean, you say you're in a minority, but it's not just a minority. There is a real antipathy from most of the scientific community towards this, isn't there?
Yes, that's right. It's not like I, think one should, be allowed to eat more salt, or somebody else thinks less salt. No, this is a very basic issue, and it really raises emotions quite a bit. I think I'm less of a minority in the scientific community than something like the disclaimer in on my university's website would lead you to believe. I think there's probably a fair minority fraction, maybe 25%, maybe more, of scientists who think that something like design is true, but heck, they're no fools. They've seen what happened to me, and they're not going to say so publicly.
I mean, how badly did coming out so strongly in favor of intelligent design affect your academic career, would you say?
Well, in the beginning, it didn't affect it very much because I wrote my first book, Darwin's Black Box, in the mid-1990s, and when it came out, most scientists didn't agree with it, and they have other things to do, and so they figured that just ignore it and it'll go away. But other people, especially in the public, read it, and it caught on with them, and they got interested in it, and it led to some people taking actions, such as suggesting that their local schools, assign intelligent design books to students and so on. And then when it got in the news, it started to become more controversial, and scientists started to speak out more loudly and more emotionally. And that's when I essentially became a pariah in the scientific community. I can't walk into a room of scientists and just sit down and be unnoticed. I'm somebody to be.
You're a marked man in a
yes.
way. I mean,
yes.
Be that as it may, obviously it is an issue which divides people. And indeed divides Christian. I don't want to paint this as a Christian atheist issue at all. There are plenty of Christian scientists out there who strongly disagree with you. But we are going to, be able to hear exactly what you believe about the whole area when you're with us in November, Monday the 22nd of November at Westminster Chapel. What's your reasons for coming over on this tour in the UK, which we're co-hosting with the Centre for Intelligent Design? What do you hope to achieve by coming and sharing things here?
Well, I think that particularly in the UK, a misimpression of intelligent design has taken shape. That it's similar to American Southern biblical creationism, fundamentalism, and it's not that at all. And so I hope to reach enough people to show them that, in fact, it's a basic scientific and basic philosophical issue that is the universe a big accident and the life in the universe a big accident, or was it designed somehow? Was it planned? Does it have a purpose? And so on. So I hope to reach enough people and enough people who talk to other people to be able to at least clear up the misimpressions that I hear about, so that people can judge intelligent design as it is on its own merits rather than some caricature of it.
I mean, we'll obviously be making sure there's plenty of time for question and answers, and I'm sure there'll be some pretty robust question and answers from the people in the audience when we host this discussion, this presentation. But I mean, it essentially distills a lot of the work you put into your last two books, for the public at least, which were Darwin's Black Box and more recently The Edge of Evolution. Obviously, in the 10 or more years since you published Black Box, plenty of people have had the chance to assess your ideas and come back at them. I'm thinking of people like Kenneth Miller in the US, who believes that what you've termed irreducible complexity, and the classic example, of course, is the bacterial flagellum in the cell, the outboard motor that you say in the book has all the hallmarks of design, can't have come together by a Darwinian gradual process of evolution. He says, no, that's been refuted. I mean, do you agree with that? Do you think any of the ideas you first set out have been validly refuted?
No, I don't think any of the ideas, any of the examples I put forward in 1996 in Darwin's Black Box have been refuted. The problem when you're debating this issue, the problem is that a Darwinist gets up and say, gee, look, that evidence looks persuasive to me. And it might be trivial, and it might not really speak to the point. And so I would say that Professor Miller is very easily persuaded of Darwinian pathways to complex systems. But if you look at the evidence and you say, what evidence is there that some organism can put together an even modestly complex pathway? There have been a lot of experiments done, especially in the past 10 years. That's what my second book is about. And all they show is that Darwinism does work. It does help some bacteria and other organisms improve in some conditions, but it does so mainly by breaking genes, by being in a sinking ship. Like if you throw overboard some heavy but complex machinery, it can help you stay afloat for a while. And that's what bacteria and other organisms do. And Darwinism can easily explain that, but the interesting question, the scientific question, philosophical question is, where did that sophisticated machinery come from in the first place? And Darwinism has precious little to say about that.
You're going to be joining us again in a couple of weeks' time for a full program, and we look forward to that when you'll be in debate with another evolutionary biologist who obviously rejects intelligent design. But I can anticipate now that one of the key things that's going to come up is God of the gaps, especially irreducible complexity, they say, is an absolute classic case of, well, once we find the pathways, then your God becomes smaller and smaller as the gaps are closed. As essentially, a lot of people would say that what you're doing, Michael, is simply giving up, saying, no, I can't work out how it happened, therefore it's designed,
right,
or God
right.
did it.
Well, I strongly disagree with that, and I think even a moment looking into it shows that that's not a well-informed position. We recognize design. Think of how you or any member of the audience, how do you know that something is designed? Suppose you walk down the street and you look to your left and there's some weeds growing in somebody's lawn, and you walk a little further and to the right you look, there's a nice garden there with different kinds of flowers arranged in a nice pattern. None of us would have any trouble thinking that one was designed and one was just happenstance. And the reason is that we recognize design by what is termed a purposeful arrangement of parts. When we see different parts coming together to give some effect, like in an aesthetic effect perhaps in a garden, or a mechanical effect in a machine like, say, a mousetrap, we always recognize that requires intelligence. And so the argument for intelligent design is not simply, gee whiz, look at all this stuff, we can't figure out how it happened. It is that it has the hallmarks of design. What we have found in the cell has the hallmarks of design, which in any other place we would immediately recognize, but it's only because of where it is in nature and in ourselves, in life, and also because of the exaggerated claims of Darwinists that people hesitate to recognize it.
Well, Michael, we will hear more from you, as I say, anyway, in a couple of weeks' time. For the moment, it's been fascinating to chat with you, and thank you for coming on this afternoon.